Thank you so much, and thank you for having me here today, and thank you Headline Entertainment and the ministry. Wow, thank you. And thank you for all of the devices and for the coffee. Um, so as you can see, I mean, I know there's going to be a common thread here, and I feel like, with Christy and Lloyd, and amazing, you guys did so amazing. They touched upon everything that I'm also going to again, but hopefully in a new perspective and from a different angle, coming from an artist side as well, and perspective, being a peer as well as an executive. I'm a hybrid. So I might be jumping around a little bit, not to oversaturate or put you to sleep in some areas, but to fill in some other blanks and just different ideas and where they're coming from as well. So my name is Nikki Shannon Fernandez, and I am many things. I am an artist, a singer-songwriter and composer, an artist manager. Sometimes I wear the hat of a attorney/consultant. I work a lot in branding, entertainment, and branding collaboration. I'm very big on mutual beneficial agreements and contracts. Like Christy had mentioned about, connecting the dots and the people who knew each other between distribution and sync and publishing. That is very valuable because then everybody benefits, everybody wins, and everybody's bringing something to the table. So you'll get better deals that way. I also work a lot in catalog acquisition, sync placement, and we're also going to get to, I heard some questions about where does the money go. That's a big deal. I consult a couple of clients that are very strong in that space, Rightbox and RDP. So I'll touch upon that as well and take more questions at the end of the day. Oops, sorry. I'm gonna be I think I might just start here and skip to the end and move backwards a little bit because I wanted to talk about, music has always been a fusion between creativity and innovation, and then you have technology, and then AI comes along, and that's a lot of fun. So now it is more than ever most important to what? Register, own your music, own your IP, or intellectual property. I feel that now that we have absolutely entered the digital age full on, AI just signed a record deal. Just need a minute, I might cry. Where the opportunity though the upside that I feel is that now more than ever, we are more of a level and equal playing ground for everyone, all creators, because the industry has not yet figured out those gray legal areas that AI has now introduced, and our voices are very impactful and powerful and needed more than ever. So it's more, the music business side is listening and hearing artists more so today. This might be a short, small window, but we'll get in it. And IP, of course, is not a legal formality. It is how you get paid. It's how you are respected, credited. It's like without it, the creative economy collapses, literally. So cannot touch upon that more than we are. So I also wanted to go through technology along with the creativity side. I started always as a singer-songwriter and artist, always on tour. I toured on my own solo. As a solo artist, opening for amazing, incredible artists throughout Europe. Those are the days of MySpace. I had over 1 million followers. Nothing could stop me. I had a manager. I was like, I'm a big deal. So that was the beginning of my relationship with IP. Because I was out one day and on the radio, my song came on. I recognized the beginning of it, and I was so excited, and it was not me singing it. So I'm not gonna share those names because I'm going back after them at this point. So that is not a good feeling. It's like your baby, it's something that you created literally out of nowhere. And that is a gift that as creators we have that sometimes we forget, because they come so naturally, and we do it every day, and we have to think of every single thing. We forget that we literally create something from nothing daily. But because it's not tangible and you can't touch it, sometimes people don't understand or respect it or take it seriously until there is money involved, until there is ownership involved, until there is food to be eaten. Lloyd, I love that. I'm taking that. And then you have AI, which is creating these legal gray areas, which I've already mentioned. And that's confusing, because if AI now is creating songs and writing songs or sampling your music, are they stealing from you, or are they inspired? So there is a lot to unpack, and there's a lot to learn, so always ask questions and get out there and educate yourself. Because as you know, when any changing and transformation and evolving in any and every industry, growth requires education, and it's uncomfortable, but that's the only way you're going to be able to look out for yourself ahead of time. You do not want to be put in that position where you're hit head on going, that's mine, and how do I get it back? And there's nothing you can do. So I'm going to start with the basics. We already went through a lot of things, but copyrights, which protects your composition and your sound recordings, you know this. Licensing. This decides who can use your work and under what terms. The licensing is so important as well, especially in sync. You need your ownership. You want to be able to register to sync registrations and registry hubs, which I'll also go over at the end of this. I have some that are Caribbean-based and also third-party based, but a lot that you can do to be able to connect to content buyers. You are sellers, they are buyers. It's a buy-sell market, the music business. And that's true. Once you create something, it's no longer yours. I mean, it's a part of a business, and you get out there and you put your business hat on. And that song, I mean, you could write today a song that echoes for decades and decades and decades, and it won't matter if it's not out there in the world for everyone to hear, and it won't matter if your name's not on it. And that is your legacy. That's our legacy. That's our imprint, our footprint, our voice on what we want to speak about and relate to in community, in politics, in love, and storytelling. And that is our responsibility as creators, I feel, that we are a voice when others might not have a voice. So it's a very big deal. No pressure. Royalties, the payments that flow back to you when your work is used, streamed, or sold. We touched upon this earlier, Lloyd did, of where this money goes. I don't know if anyone in here has heard of the black box. That's another place that a lot of money goes. The black box is somewhere out in the cloud, and I did not check the stats, I apologize, to be most accurate, but there's something like $70 billion of unclaimed royalty money just sitting out there somewhere. And the larger percentage of that is international cultural, reggae, jazz, blues, R&B, Motown, hip-hop music. There are amazing companies that are developing now to help track and even backtrack a lot of those royalties to bring them back to the estates of those catalogs and back to artists, which is exciting. And I'll share. I am very directly have amazing relationships and consult a couple of those very strong companies that are out there today that are working internationally and are new. Data and analytics, tracking streams for engagement and audience demographics, tech-driven threats, piracy, AI cloning, voices, deep fakes, all of this matters. When you are registering your split sheets, or when you're registering with a PRO or a licensing company, to add to the information that Christy and Lloyd mentioned, be sure to also add every name you go by. It's not going to find you unless you do. That was another mistake that I made when I was younger. I didn't have anybody educating me, so I learned the hard way, which I think I'm very grateful for today. But it's not going to find you just because I put Nikki on there, Nikki Shannon. I have to put Nikki Shannon Fernandez. My birth name, Nicole Serena Fernandez. Every name that you go by should be on there so that there are no mistakes, because this is technology. And there's also the people who are working with these processes. Sometimes they get overloaded. They are people too. And they're like, I'll get to that later. And they forget to fill it out. Then it gets stuck in a hole, just gunked in a whole trail of paperwork that's never going to be looked at again, especially international processes of third-party tracking for DSPs and metadata. Sometimes it's not going to track one name, but it might pick up on another name. So always have every name on there. So I would like to also touch on, like, this was going to be part of like a recap, but I mean, oh, good, you have this up. I didn't even, oh hello. Yeah, so we went through that, results in low. Right, so especially in the Caribbean, unfortunately, and a lot internationally, technology is lagged. It's a little behind, and there's not enough, also like Lloyd mentioned, there's not enough tracking materials to even track. There's not enough split sheets. Paperwork is so important. The best friends you have are the ones that you actually do contracts with, you have contracts with. If somebody is hesitant to fill that out with you, I wouldn't trust them. And it is uncomfortable when you get into the room and go, hey man, I really want to be fluid and be creative and vibe, but first can you sign here? It's a weird thing, right? So my advice on that is take care of it ahead of time. If you already know you're going to be writing with somebody, or if you're falling into a random, like a spontaneous jam, just be like, all right, let's be able just to flow naturally and just get this out of the way and make sure that we're all valued appropriately. Let's just sign here. I mean, even if it's on a napkin to start off with and you put it on paperwork later, or the next day, don't do it later. Make sure you get that done. I always say that my best friends are ones I blackmail on, because they're always going to stay close, and if they, screw you over, then, it works both ways. So you want paperwork and to have, that was not a good example. So you're like, all right, we're going to go back over to here. Like the Sicilian in me is coming out. Very passionate about all of this. So also, no matter what level you're at, wherever your journey is, everyone, like, no one's alone. You would be shocked and surprised. I mean, I work with a lot of up-and-coming and just starting artists. I educate and work with and help develop and put them in the right hands. I also manage an artist myself. She's 18. You'd be shocked. The majority of the calls that I receive are from already successful legends, catalog owners, that were not told before, and they don't know, they're already in deals, they already have Grammys, but they're still asking questions. Everybody has questions. I mean, it's always evolving, it's always changing. What we know today might change in a couple of weeks from now. You don't know, so you have to stay on top of it. And you want to literally mind your own business. So you don't have to do it every day, but you want to know enough about all of the aspects of your business, because it is your business. Yeah, and sometimes your buddies are buddies until there's money involved. So we won't do that either right now, because we're but also in brands, register your work. Performances, I love that Lloyd also and Christy touched upon that. Your live performances that you do, definitely register those with your PRO, and more times than not, you will need a signed receipt from the venue owner or manager. Make sure that you always remember to get that with dated and signed that you were there and you performed for those hours. But that is something that not a lot of people know about. That is huge, because if you're out there performing all the time, I mean, that is money for yourself. And creatives, I think, for a long time, it was like you had to choose between either being a creative and an artist, or having a life and a family and, health insurance or a 401k. You don't have to. If you do all of these things right and you really watch out for yourself first and you make sure that everything is taken care of the right way, you can have a very successful and very comfortable life and have all the things you want and deserve. I mean, you got to live in order to write the music, right? So what are you going to do? Just completely avoid love and relationships? You also don't want to, what I really wanted to mention is, it's important to protect yourself, but you don't want to, if you get ahead of it before you get burned, and you do all of this now, and you educate yourself now, it's a very thin line between becoming jaded and angry, and like feeling like, this happened to me, and then you're not going to be as creative, fluid, when you're creating, and that would be a shame. So you want to find that balance between protecting yourself, but also remaining open for collaboration and education, and not be so bitter. So, and I always say, if you're not strategic, you're not unique. So I'm touching on points that Christy and Lloyd had made as well. If you're not strategic, you're not unique. This is something I love to live by, because if you're thinking about your planning and you're making sure that you are set up and your registrations and what makes you different and how you're going to differentiate yourself, with other artists, and walk into a room and deliver who you are and have them really recognize you. You want to be different. You want to be bold. You want to just do things differently, and you want to be strategic about it and be ready to get in there. Because even the other thing is, you could be the most incredible artist and writer ever. If you got a lousy attitude, too entitled, like I got this covered, and you're not open to education and learning, and if you don't have anything put together, it will be unattractive, because people will be like, well, now we really want to sign you, we want to work with you, but we don't have bandwidth to like babysit you either. So the more that you do for yourself, the more opportunity that you're going to have within opportunities. Again, I speak from experience, because I'm also an artist and a creative. So everything I'm telling you is because I learned the hard way. But I'm grateful for that. I'm open to some questions if somebody has some now, if that's okay with you, Carlette, because I just don't want to overlay everything that's already been talked about.
Because our time is short. No problem.
Yes.
But before the questions, please everyone give her a round of applause for that insightful
Thank
and
you,
first-hand presentation. So I see Odari has his hand up first, and I'll just reiterate, we're asking questions, not making a secondary presentation. So the floor is open, and I'll ask you to stand when you're giving your question. All right? Thank you. You got the floor?
Do I need to give my name again? So here's my question. You mentioned AI, right? How has AI impacted you negatively and positively? Because AI is just a tool and depends on who's using it.
That is a very good question. So AI has impacted me actually more positively recently so far. I think that also falls into the community you surround yourself with and knowledge. Like anything, there's disadvantages and advantages to anything new, and AI can be very disruptive negatively and also positively. For me, it's been a positive experience in a way of on the business side, on the music business side, I'm not talking about the creative side, but for like my artists or syncing music, but also understanding better which project might be more valuable to investors or brands. So that's how I've been using it, that it's been very positive for me. Instead of taking all this time of wondering, I can easily input it into AI and say, which one should I start first with based on X, Y, and Z? So that way I feel more secure in knowing that that's going to be the best brand or the best first step for everybody involved, so we can expedite and execute a deal faster. On the negative side, I feel not directly impacted, but collectively as a community, I'm not going to lie, I did have a few tears the day that I heard about the AI signing a deal. But to me, it was more on the side of, there's just so many talented, beautiful musicians and people, I mean, just even in this room, and that people like myself, that we all do, Christy and Lloyd and everyone speaking today, and Headline, that support and fight for true talent. I do believe there's talent and artists, and then there's talent and artists. You know what I mean? Nah, I mean, it's like when it's in you and there's nothing else you could do about it, and it's a gift and a burden sometimes because you cannot not be a creative. It's like you'd get ill and like lose a limb. And then there's other people that want to be creative just because they want to be famous, which is also good, fine. I have no judgment on that. But where I think, for me, it's like I worry. I'm hoping that it's going to end up actually helping to divide that and really focus on helping those creatives and artists that should be heard and seen, not just relied upon like where we could just make you famous, where everybody wins. I think it's going to, like everything, like COVID and anything else, we're probably going to see go wrong before it gets right. But so yeah, those are my impacts so far. It's just less of an impact, more of just a concern. But it's impacted me to fight harder for us and see more what I can do out there.
Thank you. We can take one more question. I see the repeat offenders. All right.
Okay, greetings. I just want to ask, since you said you manage artists, like what type of artists have you managed throughout your career?
So I have managed and co-managed. I've managed I managed Key Shockley of Public Enemy, and co-managed his now artist. So hip hop, R&B, a young pop R&B artist, Ava Simone, who was actually here a couple years ago, but now I found her another level up of a team, which I'm very proud of her. And I'm now managing an artist named Abigail Reagan. She's a country artist, an old, like a, I call her a outlaw with empathy. She's very old school, like murder ballads, like Johnny Cash, Tammy Wynette, Loretta Lynn, Kenny Rogers, that era. And she's just turned 18. I've been with her for 6 months, but when we first met, she had no idea either of, where to register, what to do, where to star. And now we've got her an opening slot at the Opry. She's on 2 festivals next year. We're negotiating with publishers and whatnot. But what I spoke about with Christy and Lloyd, I mean, that's everything that I put into her in the last months. And it works. If you stick to it, just don't give up and keep it up.
Thank you so much. We have time for one final question from the floor. And then if there's a question from online, they'll let me know. You have the final floor.
Hi, everyone. I'm Soba. Good day.
Hello,
good day.
Soba.
Good day. Hi. Hey, who said hi
We're
to
the
me?
same hair. We'll talk about product
Yeah,
after.
so real. Yeah, let's do it. But, so my question essentially, so I've been struggling to figure out whether or not I need a manager. And I think it's something that I find a lot of young artists also struggle with. And so I'm just wondering, what are some of the things, I suppose, that we would need to have already, in order to attract the attention of a manager or to begin looking for a manager, and what are some of the things that like a manager would be looking for in order to even consider taking on a particular artist?
Wonderful question. That is an awesome question. It's also kind of a customized answer, but I'm going to do my best across the board. So I agree. I don't know that not everybody would really need a manager per se. Managers today can also work as a publishing company and a label nowadays, right? And managers are also different than agents. Sometimes if you're already, all right, like myself, right? I wouldn't need a manager, but I am always looking to work with an agent. If I already have had some success and you have experience, and you don't necessarily need someone to work mainly on development, but more of like really helping to manage what needs to be taken care of and driven and removed from your plate, and have somebody vouch for you, mediate on your behalf. That always helps. If you have somebody saying, I'm representing you on your behalf, that always helps with all meetings and syncing of songs. Management, I think what you would want to do to be ready for management is, to me personally, is to recognize the bone. I mean, if you have that raw talent, you have that drive, you are holding yourself with confidence, but you're humble. You're working at your craft. You're honing in. You're asking questions. You're open to, working within critique and development. Those are really, really, really big. Those I think would be that's very similar. I mean, that's what a manager would look for to begin with, and depends on what phase you're in your journey, in your career. And then if that manager's like, I'm ready to start from the get-go with you, or I don't have the bandwidth right now to take you on at this stage, but I know so-and-so. So I think always ask and approach them, and then say, and if you're not able to put the time into me, is there someone you trust that you would refer to? And I think the best way to do that is just get out, and also always perform. Any gigs you can find, any opportunity. If you jump up on stage and somebody, lets you within a gig, or anything you can do in the beginning, definitely get out there, be seen, be everywhere, network, talk to people, ask questions. Music venues, go to the manager or even the bartender and ask who handles the booking, who handles the events, who handles the hospitality side, and learn more of how to be in the right place to actually be in front of managers. You don't always have to be performing, but you want to be able to approach them. I hope that was helpful. Okay.
An opportunity. Because you see, I even put down the audience mic, right? Yes. Go ahead.
So final tiny follow-up. What are the things that a manager would be responsible for as opposed to an artist in the career?
That's not a small follow-up. No, that's a whole other workshop. So you're going to give a 2-minute response, 2 sentences.
This is 2 sentences, but also I'm around. I'm going to be around. I would love to speak with everybody. You can also find me on social media. I have business cards, all that, and I'm happy to talk. So a manager is responsible for the development of you, stage development, branding, who you are, what your music is, helping you to find and cultivate your sound that aligns with who you are as a person. So it's the music, the business, and the artist, right? So it's mind, body, and soul. That should all be aligned. And then helping you to find and collab, like finding the right publisher. If you need a publisher or a label, or you don't even need a label, putting the right team around you, from everything from attorneys to artists, band, musicians, everything like that. Making sure that you are signed up and registered and everything is taken care of on your business side. Booking or finding your booking agent. Being there in the middle of the night when you feel nervous about something and you need to talk to someone and you might not be able to talk to anyone else about, let's say it's confidential. Being there before your show, making sure you have everything you need before you get out there on the road or on stage. Talking about breakups, how to work that into a song. Writing with you, producing with you. I mean, your manager is your confidant. So even as you scale and you move forward and you get a bigger team, a bigger management team, you can keep your personal manager. Reviewing contracts, making sure that everything is in your favor and fights for you. Wake up very early to have breakfast with you. You're like, thank you so much, everybody. You're amazing. I love that so many people turned out today. And thank you, Headline and Carlette.